Hello.
Hello,
Mm,
good morning. How are you?
See if my camera is working. Yes. There, yes. Yeah, I'm quite all right. I'm currently in my parents' home. And just before, earlier today, I had just Wi-Fi connection, and my workplace is quite far from the router, so I had a very, very lousy connection. But now I actually managed to get the cable, so now it should be better.
Ah,
Hopefully
great.
I can be on video as well during the meeting. You can tell me if you I had a meeting this morning and my voice dropped or presentation dropped quite often, so let
So
me know
far
if
it
there's a
looks
problem.
pretty good.
Perfect.
So I made some agenda for today. Let me share it. Do you know if anyone else is planning to join this morning?
I haven't heard anything, so maybe we can, I guess we can
Okay.
start. Yep.
All right. Yeah. So, well, for who's watching the recording, welcome to the CDEvents working group. Signing in. Right, so we have no new attendees joining today. I didn't have any specific action item that I found from previous meetings, but let me know if I missed anything. You know.
We could maybe say something about visualization talk, maybe since you were not there on the last meeting when it was presented.
Sure. That was in a CDEvents meeting,
Yeah,
or
it was in a CDEvents meeting, yes, but yeah, they go hand in hand quite a lot, so maybe it's good to mention it here.
okay, sure. Would you like to start with that then?
Yeah, I can say something, I guess. We can maybe open the SIG notes if there is anything valuable. Manage to find it.
Well, I should not. My calendar.
Yeah, there's another meeting this afternoon, so we should have it there, I guess.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So it was on the 28th of August, 2 weeks ago. Yeah, there we go. Blockchain Modellander. Yeah, so the code base comes from the old CDEvents repo, the POC we had there. And I believe it's updated to, is it CDEvents version 0.1 or maybe even 0.2? I'm not exactly sure which release of CDEvents now it's up to, but then it's currently contributed. I think it's still a pull request in the visualization repo under CDEvents now, so it's not merged, I'm afraid. But what it includes on top of the old POC, where we have Tecton and Kepton and those things, is that it now also includes a GitHub Actions interface. So it registers a self-hosted runner through in GitHub, and then can that way execute the workload in an external cluster and send events for it. So I believe it did send source change events. Now I'm a bit uncertain, but I think it did as well. Hi, Victor, by the way. I think you were on the meeting as well, Victor, when this was presented, the visualization POC.
Yeah, I mean, usually it's early for me, just happen to get up early in the US to join this one.
Yeah. So yes, so GitHub Actions is in some way added to this POC, and then it's obviously a visualization also added on top of it. And the visualization is a standalone thing on top of the other systems. It's not tightly connected to any of the other systems in the POC, so not to Tecton or Captain or GitHub Actions, but it's purely relying on the CDEvents themselves, also sitting on the same event broker in the POC, as we can see here. So there is a parser of the CDEvents in that data layer on the top there, analyzes the events, and then provides it to a GUI tool. And I believe there are two different GUI solutions here. One is the CDEvents aware tool, you can see in the middle there, which knows of the protocol and knows a bit about what event types are and so on, and show it in a bit more user-friendly way due to that. And that is I'm not sure, it's actually somewhat based on a visualization that was earlier made for Eiffel, called Vichy. So it's somehow related to that. I'm not exactly sure how much of the code base is shared, but anyway, it's there. And then there is the non-aware tool. So one part that is not at all aware of what CDEvents is. So it's a protocol agnostic thing, which is Prometheus or Grafana visualization then. So it can more show how events are connected in a more agnostic way, and how often certain events comes and such things that you can show in a Grafana dashboard. Yeah, what else is there to say about these? Both are POCs, I would say, and Jalander asked for input on what of these is most interesting to continue working on, and what should the next steps be, and we didn't really come to good conclusions there, I believe, yet. So it's still a bit up for grabs, or up for input for new use cases, how we would like to use visualization with this. One important thing to note about the relations between the events is that, as you might know, we don't yet have a good way to relate events to each other within the protocol. And there is pull requests being heavily discussed on that, about connecting events. And Jalander and the guys there made some assumptions on the link model, how they should be related. But it shouldn't be at all different or hard to change in a way if the link model would change. So that should be possible to adapt. So it's quite standalone. The visualization layer in itself, the GUI, doesn't really rely on it too much. So it's the data collection layer that needs to know about how they are related. I think that's mostly about it. What else did we note in the SIG meeting? Yeah, so the POC should be updated once the connecting events PR is merged, obviously. I think that's about it. Do you remember anything else, Victor? Anything else we can fill in?
Not really. Yeah, I'm just mostly here to learn.
Yeah, fine. Good. Any questions from you, Andrea?
Not a question. Maybe I think as a comment, I think both type of visualizations are probably valuable. I definitely think that the CDEvent specific one should be there, because having the knowledge about the events allows a much richer visualization, and I think it's where you really get a lot of value in. If you're running, for instance, there was a question in Slack, is there any dashboard where I can visualize GitLab pipelines and Jenkins, I think, or anyway, from two tools in one place? And I think that's where you could, see these pipelines running on different CI tools and see where artifacts are generated and this kind of thing. So it would be really valuable.
Right.
But yeah, nonetheless, I think also the generic one is probably valuable. Different type of views, I guess. But from what I remember from the original visualization presentation, they both look interesting. In terms of if we have to set a priority, I personally would probably tend to say the CDEvent specific one first, even though there is a dependency, maybe stronger dependency on the link model there. But yeah. That
makes sense.
But yeah, no, I'm really excited to see this moving forward.
Yeah, I also seen the demo, it's pretty interesting. But one thing I'm not sure this is in scope for the CDS Foundation is there are so many different tools. This project, and also the event project, and also the interoperability project make it easier to get all the tools work together. That's great. However, is there any information at all, like the differences, how each CD project, the tool itself, position itself, like what everybody is trying to do the same on everything. For example, I know Argo CD is more GitOps focused, right? So it's not trying to do everything like Jenkins does. However, everybody is still positioned, like the diagram you showed earlier, everybody stay the same level. There's no differences. Is there any like sort of landscape to group the products into like what they think that, at least what they think projects themselves do differently, so that when people make decisions, they know sort of what they focus on?
Exactly, that one, yeah.
We do have this landscape where different tools are kind of in different boxes, even though, I mean, this is kind of like the major functionality for the tool, but as you said, a lot of the tools, like they span across actually some of these different boxes. So this is one thing that we have today. Another thing that we are working on at CDF is setting up or defining a kind of reference architecture, which means identifying kind of list of capabilities that you may have within a CI/CD setup. And then the idea is that those capabilities, then the different tools and projects will be able to map to those. So like if we have this reference architecture with a number of capabilities interacting with each other, then Septon can say, well, actually I covered this and this capability, and Spinnaker can say I covered these others, and Jenkins these others, and then you could see how you could fit the different tools together to cover all capabilities that you need. But yeah, this is work in progress.
Yeah, that'd be great. Especially especially the top left, the pipeline orchestration and continuous integration. That's great. That's where I probably need to be, at least for newbies like me. It'd be great to group them into more detailed, like you said, use cases, probably to tell like if how to really tell what they play in the whole interoperability and the event ecosystem, we'll say.
Yeah, so many of the tools we see in partner orchestration, they they serve the same features in the CI/CD system, but obviously not 100% overlapping all of them. And as you said, Jenkins, for example, covers a lot of ground and has a lot of features. But I don't think, for example, that Jenkins has too much in the configuration management space and in the library management space. And in the container registry space, maybe either. So it's mostly there up in the orchestration or continuous integration space. But yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Are you requesting more as or wanting to have a more fine-grained division of tools so it's easier to select, or?
Yeah, I think it's more a combination of what each project describes themselves, and also what really is, just like you said, use cases, what people actually using in the field. For example, I learned from talking to different people. So Jenkins is the more traditional, bulky, feature-rich products that do, code management, CI, integration. Not as much deployment, but it's doing that as well. But it would be nice to have more detailed classification. Also, like Tactile, for example, it's great, very lightweight, but yet it's a very, you can say, especially for cloud native, it's a very nice integration tool to use. So yeah, those finer details, I know it's sometimes hard because everybody's trying to do the same sometimes, but it would be nice to have a way to tell. So otherwise, I know for experts who know all the tools, the CDEvents is helpful. But for people who don't know the really in details of what each product does, having that event just sounds like everybody the same. You just need to operate. At least for me, that sounds like that.
I think that's true. It's a very good point, and it would be very good as an end user or a newcomer, maybe, as you say. It would be great to have a feature comparison or use case comparison between these tools in the same box. What should I look for when I'm most interested in this or that feature? I think, though, that such a comparison table would quite quickly get out of date because tools are developing quite rapidly. And it might send wrong signals if they're not completely up to date all the time as well. So it's a bit hard. But in such a table, you wouldn't probably see how active the project is and how probable it is that a lacking feature will become available in the tool in a few months or something like that. It's hard to show such things. So yeah,
it could be even in a place that each project can update their feature, but but instead of just saying so, they maybe ideally it'll be links to their own Git repo to say why they're saying so, which feature are they adding in which release. This way people know this is they don't have this feature now, but they are adding it, but this is a new feature that people want to even try.
Yeah, I think it's a very good input actually to CDF, that we can maybe discuss that within CDF TOC maybe, or somewhere, if it would be suitable to work on such a comparison document or something.
Yeah, definitely. That's good input. So one thing that we are working on the TOC is to set up a page with like dip links to different useful pages from the various project hosted. So that you would have a link to where to engage with the community, where to ask questions, where to find like guidelines, how to contribute, and things like that. So that hopefully makes it easier then to reach out to the different communities, and if you want to ask this specific questions. But yeah, sure. I mean, comparison or definitely be useful for people getting started with the tools.
Actually, Ginger, that's another good suggestion. Because sometimes it's really hard especially for the for the community to define it. Maybe for where it's possible to have a use case and define the differences, that's nice. Otherwise, maybe let's have a central forum. I think CDF already have a forum for people to discuss differences, so that it's whoever want to have their opinion, they can go there and post their opinion and share. Everybody can share their experiences. This way that it could be already in a Reddit or whatever forum there already, but it'd be nice to have that. This way, because there's a lot of I'm actually infrastructure guy, I'm a database guy, but I know that the DevOps, and now platform engineering, all that are hot terms now, right? So, but really, the CI/CD tool, in a way, is the glue of all that revolution that's happening with all that platform. But because there's so many, and for newbies, it's hard to choose like which tool to use.
I pasted in the
Yes.
chat. There is also there is CDEF has an end user council where people are, or end users, so it's users of CI/CD tools are invited to join and discuss between themselves and also with the tools providers, I believe, solutions to different CI/CD related matters, and such comparisons of tools and discussions on what features should use, or what tool should we select for what feature and so on, could of course end up there as well. I think that's one of the forums for it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll join that. That's a probably interesting place to discuss. Yeah, I see a lot of discussion like in Reddit, something like that. But yeah, it'd be nice to have a more centralized discussion on top of the foundation-wise the effort to define the landscape. I think that would be interesting for people to understand how to really more effectively use all the tools. Because if I'm newbie looking at that diagram, I will say, okay, Argo is going to do everything Jenkins does. Obviously, that's not true.
Thanks, Victor. I tried to capture in a couple of sentences, but feel free to add to the notes with more details.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So for the visualization, just to complete that topic, is there any specific action next? Is the PR waiting for reviews from someone, or is there any action we need to take from CDEvents group?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't really recall what the last statement was there. So obviously the PR needs to be merged, and I'm not sure if Jalander is waiting for reviews from anyone outside his group. I would say that he could probably merge it as is, more or less, as long as it works and it has some kind of decent documentation for it. It's possible to follow. And then of course we can improve it. So I think it's better to have it merged and have it published than waiting.
Okay. Yeah, it's a lot of commits. I guess maybe one of the commits does not have the signed anyways, yeah, I think it would make sense to me to just merge this. Okay. All right. So the only other things I had in the agenda. Oh no, this is the wrong note. Sorry, here. I added in here like Oktoberfest. I'm not sure if there is any follow-up there that is required. Then release planning, updates on SDKs, updates on integrations, and any discussion on the connecting events. I don't know if it makes sense to go through these in this order. Any preference of things we should discuss first?
No, that's fine.
Okay. So thanks for the work on the Oktoberfest. I think the blog post should probably go live soon.
Yeah,
I
in a
remember
few
correct.
days. I believe it is in a couple of days. So the apparently new logo. I think this says 10 there. I'm not sure if it's 10 or 10, if it's binary or 10, but I think maybe it's the 10th year in a row.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly, but
I think it's been around, yeah, for a while. So yeah, 10th year.
okay, it says 10 years.
Okay, so yeah,
So
it's
the
2
blog
weeks
post
away.
is, yeah, and the blog post is up to date and will be published. One thing we need to do, our homework, is to label issues for it.
Yeah.
And maybe we could spend some time here on the meeting, if you like, to look at the issues and label them actually. We discussed that a bit when you're away, Andrea. I think it's only you and I, seems like that, who can set these labels. I'm not sure if that's something we want to change or if it's, yeah, how we want to have it. But I've asked people to reach out to us individually if they have some issue that they want us to label. Because it seems they cannot label them themselves.
Oh.
But I hope that will not restrict how many issues we will provide for Oktoberfest. Anyway.
Is that something, is that for people that are part of the org? Or
Yeah, I think who was it? Was it Jalander who tried maybe, or I believe he's part of the org, right?
Yeah, he is.
I think Ben tried as well. Ben should be a member, right? Maybe it's not. Oh, maybe Ben is not actually a member. But I'm pretty sure Jalander tried.
Okay.
There must be some setting there. But I'm not sure if we want to open it up widely for anyone to set whatever label in any project.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe we could for now, because until it's misused, we can have it open for anyone to label, if that's possible.
Yeah, exactly. I think we could, where we are still a relatively small community, I don't think anyone would abuse that. So it would probably make sense for me to say, okay, member privileges. I don't know if it's projects. Okay. Yeah, I don't know which of these roles is needed to set labels. Project areas will default. Okay, but maybe you can ask. I don't know if you have a chance to ask Jalander. I can, if I have a specific issue, I can investigate and try to find out why he was not able to add the label.
It says in some GitHub documentation here that organization owners can customize the default labels for repositories in their organization. So it could be the case that Jalander then, if he tried, he could have tried to set the label in a project that was not yet, that didn't have that label defined for it yet.
Oh, okay.
Because
Yeah,
labels are
but-
project-wide, right? Per project.
Yes. So
It could be that in this, for example, there. It is
There is.
Oktoberfest there.
But maybe some other, maybe visualization does not have it. Probably.
Mm. If there is a doesn't have it, but there is no real issue that is relevant to set Oktoberfest on either. So
Yeah. Okay. Well, I can.
you can create it here, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, owners of the repo should be able to manage their labels,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, maybe we can follow up with Jalander. What is missing exactly? Okay, so do you want to review issues and label them?
Yeah, if we really have time, I think that would be valuable to do, unless we think we can have time to do it offline. But maybe we could spend a few minutes on actually labeling some issues. I'm not sure.
Okay.
If you
Would it
have
make
that, yeah.
sense? Would it make sense to quickly go through the other topic and then
Sure.
spend the rest of the time labeling issues?
Of course, of course.
Okay, so for the next one is, I guess, the release planning. And I think the release originally we planned it at the end of August, but then yeah, we're still working on the connecting linking events bank, and I'm not sure we have an ETA for that, but I will still say we should probably make a release once we have that feature merged or some part of that merged. So that's the only thing that was on my mind in terms of release planning. I don't know, what are your thoughts about this?
No, I think it's mainly the connecting events that we are waiting for. If there would be some other PR coming in that we feel makes it worth to make a release, then sure, we could have that released. There has been new PRs, at least one, I believe, merged last month or so in the spec. So, but I don't think maybe we should have a release just because of those. See, it was marked down.
This one probably.
Yeah.
Take pull request and place with working links. Add change create a description field. Yeah.
Yeah. So there are two, three minor bugs or changes. So they probably don't require a release at this stage. But if it takes too long time for the connecting events, maybe we should consider releasing those in some way. Potentially.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think we're seeing quite some progress on that connecting event. So hopefully it won't take too long.
Yeah, there are some critical discussions we need to have on that PR, I believe. There is a proposal right now on limiting it quite a lot, I would say. And if that goes through, if we accept that, then it might be easier to merge it soon. But then at the same time, it will not contain as much as we probably expected it to contain some time ago.
Okay.
But maybe we should look into that when we come to that bullet in the agenda.
Okay. All right. In terms of SDK updates, I don't have anything major. I mean, Java 0.12 was released, but that was before the holidays, but it wasn't announced for some time. So I put the announcement in the Slack channel and just here, so if everyone is aware. I've also seen that there is a new SDK.NET repo, but
Yeah.
I didn't.
Let me see now. Didn't I create that? Yeah, because there was someone saying that they aimed to contribute that.
Okay.
I think that was the same person who made a pull request in the spec. Obo Versa. Let me see who that was now. Not sure what organization and such it comes from, but let's see if we can find it somewhere. Owen Bower Adams. Don't know which organization, but he is also. I added him as a maintainer of the new .NET SDK group, so he
Nice.
intends to contribute that. Yeah.
Is there a specific use case, tool, or?
Yeah, I believe there was. I'm not sure if he reached out to me on Slack or which channel it was now. Probably. I think there was a discussion actually in the CDEvents channel where he, in a thread there, I think he explained a bit on the use case, if I don't remember wrong now. Yeah. Okay, so there is a long discussion there on what they intend to do. I can paste the link to the chat thread.
Oh. Yeah, I think I
Unless you found it.
found it. Yeah.
Oh, okay, step one. Yeah. Right. So there he explains a bit on their use case, and I think I also said that it would be good to get him in to the CDEvents group to present this use case and to discuss it more.
Okay. Okay. Would you like to reach out to Owen and see if he's interested in presenting or joining?
Well, yeah, I read in the discussion we had that he's planned to be out a couple of weeks just after the chat there, and then he said he should come back in 3 to 4 weeks or something like that, and with a new post in the channel or such. But if we don't hear from him in in another few weeks, then we should maybe reach out. But I think it's maybe too early so far. It was just a
Okay.
week or two ago since that happened. So
Okay, makes sense. Thanks. Yeah, exciting.
Hmm.
Okay. Then on the integrations, well, on Tecton side, I made an announcement proposal, TEP. Well, the design has been approved. We just need one last approval to merge. It was mostly, well, CI was not passing, so they updated it and then it should be merged. So, and then I will start the implementation. So that's the status there. On Harbor, I think generally there was a positive response and the proposal has been there for a while. One only concern was that not all Harbor events are supported by CDEvents. Actually, only one is supported today. And so one of the maintainer wanted to have some further discussion about what to do with the events that are not supported. Yeah, I'm just struggling a bit to find a place where to actually have that discussion, but hopefully it will happen soon. On Argus side, there's no update since before the holidays. I've been away for a few weeks. But last thing we said before I left the holidays that we had an idea to build a POC using Argus CD and CDEvents. And so the next step would be to actually build that POC, and so I need to follow up on that and see if we can make some progress there. And I checked the Spinnaker status. Obviously, the RFC has been approved and merged, and we have the PRs up there, but they're still up for review as far as I can tell. I just wanted to bring some updates on the various right here. Any question, comments?
no, not really.
Okay. On the connecting linking events proposal, I was going through it, and I've seen there have been quite few updates, and that you put a comment, Emil, that it needs to be formatted to fit the current specification format, which I agree with. One thing that I wanted to bring up is that it seems to me that there are two main parts to it. And one is kind of the global ID, parents ID side of the specification, and the other one is the linking part of the specification. And they seem to me to be relatively disjointed as features. I mean, they can be combined and used together, but well, it seems to me as I had the impression that both could be defined in their own PR, and maybe that could help in getting one bit at least to a state where we can merge it and implement it in the SDKs and then move on to the next one, or do them both in parallel. But I don't know if that's correct, or what do you think about it?
Yeah, the discussions has gone a bit back and forth there, and last meeting was last Tuesday. Me and Ben discussed that quite intensively, I would say. I think it boils down to, because in the proposal Ben has created there is a proposal on a separate standalone links service to actually manage both storing and keeping the relationships between the events and some of its data. And then disjoint from that is the message bus, the protocol, the CDEvents protocol on the message bus. And so a few weeks ago, the idea was that the protocol should contain these parent ID links, and then a producer of the events should, at the same time as sending such an event, connecting to a parent event, also calling the links service to explain what is then the relationship between these two events, and is this a new span that has been created, or is it a span that has been closed or finished, or is it just in the middle somewhere? And then, it's a bit hard to see what is the best way forward there. So the last statement that was made, I think more or less on the last meeting we had, was that Ben should update the pull requests now to actually remove the parent ID link completely from the spec, to only have the global ID, or he should rename it to something else, but and then have the links spec as a totally standalone separate thing, and then potentially later on add back those parent ID links or other kinds of relation links into the spec. I'm quite, I'm not really too fond of having it as a separate thing. I think it complicates the whole picture a bit, but there are ideas that it will be simpler. The protocol spec will of course be simpler because it will contain no relations at all. It will just be data for each event. But then to make sense of the relationships between the events, which mostly exist there, you need also to understand this links service and manage that in your system, both as a producer and a consumer of the data. So I think that the complete picture becomes more complicated, at least in my mind currently, but the pull requests which is being worked on might be simpler and easier to get in there, but then it might only contain this global ID or span ID or what it should be called. So yeah, I think we're still quite far off from having a complete linkable structure, so to say, or how we can relate links to relate events to each other in a well-defined way. But Ben had some action on him from the last meeting to update the pull request there to describe a bit how the current conversation is going.
Okay. So okay. If the parent IDs be removed.
One thought there was that if we don't have it in the spec now as a mandatory event or even optional parameter, even optional parameter, we could anyway, of course, try it out in the custom data object to provide some kind of relationship data. So even though it's not defined in the protocol, we could of course start elaborating with it standalone. But I think to make better use of it, it would be good if we can define at least some optional parameters that can be optional links then, or optional relationship objects.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the current state of affairs, at least.
All right. Okay. Yeah, thanks for the update there. Yeah, so shall we then, we have 10 minutes. Shall we have a look at the list of issues then for Oktoberfest? Use this time there.
One more thing,
there...
just I know that when the visualization POC was presented, there was a request from Brad McCoy to have it recorded and published because he wanted to. He couldn't attend it because it was so early in the day or something, so he couldn't attend
Yeah.
it. But and then I still don't see it on YouTube, so I'm not sure if there is some problem with the publishing on YouTube from those old events. So I think it might still not be there.
I feel like. Okay. So where is playlists? Okay. Events. Do you remember the date?
28th of August it was.
That's the
CD working group, but then there's the CDEvents as well the same day in the afternoon.
Oh, okay.
And that's the one that is missing. That's when the presentation was.
Okay, I see. Yeah, I think the SIG event meeting might still be managed under a different Zoom account. And so I think Roxanne usually does those.
But wait, it says there August 14th was one meeting, and then August 23rd was another meeting. That seems actually to be the visualization if I look at the thumbnail there. So probably only the date is wrong on that one. Because I think that is the POC actually, the presentation.
Sorry, which one?
The last
23rd.
one after that one, August 20th, that one, yeah. I think it's just that it states the wrong day.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, because there it is.
Maybe Roxanne did it before. Maybe, yeah.
I think so. Yeah, because there is the POC. So that's the one.
Yeah, okay. Let me see. How do I... edit existing videos? Oops. So best practices, SIG events, this one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's
great.
Okay. So hopefully, yeah,
Perfect.
that is okay. Okay. Sorry about that. So if we share this and put it back into the notes. Okay.
Cool.
All right. Delivery to support events. So we have 37 results. Okay, connecting events, update PSC to see the event 0 to 3. I don't think this is something for Oktoberfest, or I think I understood Jalander was already working on updating the PSC, right?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Create a new FAQ page.
Yeah, there could potentially be something. Of course, if someone coming new to the project has a lot of questions, this is those
Yeah.
questions are good to put in such a page. So maybe that's a good thing.
Okay. So this is now. I think this is something.
This is something that is released. Okay, so that
Yeah. So, but I think this is something that he's working on.
okay.
And Andres, but I can. Okay. Okay, so we have create a demo system. Is something Adam is working on. We made some thing on Kidacoda. I don't know that this is something that is a good fit for Oktoberfest, but we can ask Adam. What do you think?
No, maybe yeah.
This is something, by the
It's
way,
good
we
to
should
ask.
probably maybe we could add in the topic for next meeting, the review. What is this today?
Okay.
Events for artifact repositories. And I think this is a more complex one, not good for Oktoberfest, I think. This one as well. Release 3.0. This is probably something we
Not
should
very
close.
suitable for Oktoberfest, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wait.
Document design process for managing publication of spec revisions. No, it's not
That's an old
something.
one. Is that still valid?
Yeah, I'm not sure. This is for the website.
Yeah. Well, I see we're out of time now, so go to another meeting. Okay, but this will come somewhere.
Yeah.
I guess we can continue looking a bit offline and see if we can find any more relevant issues. Or maybe write more, because there most certainly are issues we could write as well. Yes.
All right.
Good.
Well, thanks a lot for the
Thank you.
Meeting today. Good to see everyone. And until next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.